But Pittsburgh tonight with the win over Houston would go up to the third team in my estimation.
Kenny.
Baltimore is number one right now. Cincinnati struggling without A.J. Green. Hey, look at it, guys. We talk about Alex Mack, the domino effect there. Look what's happening with A.J. Green in Cincinnati. Without him, their offense struggles mightily. It has a domino effect.
And their
They've
defense
struggled since he's been hurt.
Yeah,
when you lose a Pro Bowl caliber player, it has an impact on whatever unit he plays for. So they're number two. I'll give Cleveland, because of what they did 2 weeks ago, a slight nod over Pittsburgh. But like Andre said, if Pittsburgh can beat Houston tonight at home and shut down Arian Foster, then they would leapfrog the Browns tonight, and they literally would in the standings as well to improve to 4-3. But they could lose and fall to 3-4 and be in last place. So Baltimore, Cincy, Browns right now, then Pittsburgh.
Kenny, you mentioned that about A.J. Green. Defensively, Cincinnati's not the same. Perfect's got some issues.
Right.
He had another concussion or neck injury. He is their heart and soul of that defense, and since he got that concussion 3 weeks ago, their defense has just been terrible.
So it shows you other teams, when they lose key players, the effect it can have. It's not just the Cleveland Browns. Look at Detroit without Megatron and how, they won yesterday, but they struggled offensively to get the job done. So impact players like that make a huge difference. Even though it's a team sport and there are 11 guys out there, one guy can have a dramatic effect.
Tim, AFC North.
Baltimore number one for me. I think Joe Flacco is really starting to play well. They're starting to get some big plays on the offensive side of the ball, and then Cincinnati would be number two for me as well. I think, but it's been a struggle for them. As the lady you mentioned, A.J. Green being out, Andy Dalton looks confused without A.J. Green out on the field, and then I'm going to go with Cleveland number three, and then Pittsburgh number four. But it's always it's a battle in this division, and those can change as the season goes on, obviously. But right now, Baltimore is the clear number one for me.
I'll go Dennis Green on this. They are what you think they are, and the standings are exactly right.
Yeah,
they're right right now. They're right. Tim, before you go, I just want to ask you, big game this week.
Don't bring up last week's game.
No. Big game for you this week. You talk about Kentucky and Mississippi State. You got to be excited for this one.
I am excited, man. I was more excited until I watched us play against LSU this past Saturday, man. That was tough to watch. I think I was expecting a lot more, but, we're such a young football team here that I think that environment intimidated our young guys a little bit going into a night game at Death Valley. Man, no one hardly ever goes in there and wins a game. Kentucky hadn't won a game in there since 1998. And, so it's been a long time, but they were intimidated a little bit, but I think they'll bounce back. It's such a young team that they can, they don't really know any better, so they can put that loss behind them. They got the number one team in the country coming in this week, so it's going to be a tough test, but I think they'll play much better and be much more comfortable playing at home.
I'll just say it was a trap game. That's all you got to say. Just chalk it up to being a trap game.
Let's go with that.
There you go.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. We'll talk to you next Monday morning. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Have a great week. Don't shave until the Browns win.
Not doing it.
He's got a big game because number one next week, man. He's got to be clean.
That's true. He does. All right, Kenny, before we say goodbye to you, Ohio State, kind of a snoozer on Saturday.
Yeah, I went down, my son Cameron and I took in the game.
Too, by the way.
And, guys, Rutgers and Maryland, it does not impact the league in a positive way, especially with this 14 football playoff now. My son and I were talking about how great the atmosphere was when they played Texas and USC. Even though they lost both of those games down there, we would rather have those type of games than Rutgers and Maryland. It doesn't help the Big Ten out at all. I'm sorry. It was a blowout at halftime. And maybe in basketball, Maryland will help a little bit. But Jim Delaney can say all he wants, but bringing those two in, major mistake.
Nova played like a Pinto the other day. He was terrible.
Oh, it was, halftime, we were looking for things to do, conversations.
So was everybody else.
Watching the game, wishing that, we could see another fan run on the field and see one of the other coaches body slam him or something to drum up some excitement. That's how boring the game. I mean, it sounds like we're spoiled. Hey, you should be happy a team wins 56-17, right? Especially with a redshirt freshman quarterback. But when you look at how important it is, your conference games, 3 teams in the Big Ten are in the top 25, guys. Yeah. That's it, 3. Yeah. And that's not going to help you when it comes time to pick for that 14 playoff. And Maryland and Rutgers it's a joke.
I kept thinking about Rice. Remember when Ohio State crushed Rice a couple years ago? A decade ago.
What was it, 80-0 or something like
77,
that?
I think he scored. But then one more thing about the KennyRoto.com studios. That LeBron giant bobblehead behind you, the eyes on that thing are freaking me out.
Strategically placed lighting, Andy. It's one of my classes I learned at Baldwin Wallace University. Strategically placed lighting to give you the look that you want to look. And Eric was adjusting my lighting for me, but I wanted to make sure that LeBron stood out. So the fact that you mentioned it tells me I did my job with my lighting.
All right, and I'm sure you're still paying Baldwin Wallace, too, for that lighting class. So. Thank you, Kenny. We'll talk to you later. And again, good luck in preparation for your show that starts next week. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. See you.
We'll talk to you later. Eric, the referee, let's figure out what we're doing here. We're going to go Howie Smith and Garrett Downing. Is that what we're going to do?
Actually, first, before we go to Howie, we're going to do the little picture caption that we teased earlier.
All right, so let's do this. Is our new thing.
This is the first. This is the first picture. This is right after the 4th and 5 in the fourth quarter, where Greco snapped the ball and they ran the little option and failed.
It looks like somebody forgot to bring the right Mr. Hero sandwich to Brian Hoyer.
Wow, that's cold, man.
What?
That's cold. Come on, man. Every quarterback in the world makes money doing endorsements.
Oh, I'm not mad about that. I like
okay.
Mr. Hero.
I
just think they didn't put onions on it or something.
Who has a better face in this picture? Is it Kyle Shanahan? Look at Kyle
look at Shanahan's look.
I think if I had to write a caption for this one, it's did I put enough sunscreen on? Because not only is my head getting burned, but my team is getting burned too.
That's a good one.
All right. And Kyle Shanahan's like, wait a minute, what did we call on fourth down there?
It looks like, ew. He's seeing the pictures of his center get his butt kicked, I think, right there.
Yeah, he's like, I have no answers for this. All right, next picture.
All right.
Dear God, am I really getting beat by the Jaguars?
Man, I really could use a beer up in that pool.
Did you see she's wearing a bikini?
Yeah, is that a thong up there?
What is that?
What is that?
Hey, at least I know I'm not going to get fined for wearing my Bose headsets. It's a good thing I left my Beats at home.
No doubt. He's not the man, not the man. Did he wear sunscreen? Look at the top of his head.
Ooh.
That don't look good.
A little bit. Any other captions on this picture? I like this. Eric, you got anything on that?
Eric, yeah, you got anything?
I can't. I'm so proud.
Mr. Mouth Jr. over there has got.
How about this? Speechless. We're horrible. Same old Browns.
Oh, come on. It's not. They're 3-3, dude.
Yeah.
They're 3-3. This is not the end of the
Atlanta
world.
Falcons are 2-5. 6 weeks ago, if I would have said who's more talented, the Atlanta Falcons or the Cleveland Browns, I think most of us would have said the Atlanta Falcons, right? We would have said more talented, right?
Right.
We barely beat the Tennessee Titans, the backup quarterback.
It's the NFL,
Yeah.
dude. Every week there's a team's got a chance.
Now we're complaining about wins?
Yeah. I don't understand. I was at the Super Bowl ring ceremony.
2 weeks ago. He did 2 weeks ago.
I did. I'm with you, but come on, they're 3-3.
Right.
I mean, the funny thing was we were all sitting around last week going, man, they're 3-2, and we forgot the Browns were 3-2 last year too.
No, I didn't forget that.
I know
knew
you
it.
did, right.
I know, and I also said we
They're
can't.
1-10
Like
after
2
that.
weeks ago, I was freaking out about looking ahead, and then this week I was totally on the man. They beat Pittsburgh. They should win this game by 21. I didn't think that Jacksonville would come back and almost win by 21.
No, the telling thing tonight, and I'm not selling Monday Night Football. Can Pittsburgh beat Houston? I mean, if Pittsburgh beats Houston, you feel better about the win. If Houston just annihilates Pittsburgh, seriously.
No, you're right.
I hate to think of it that way, but I am.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, we go to Howie Smith, president of the Susquehanna Browns backers. And Howie, how are you?
In St. Augustine this
Oh,
week.
I'm doing fine. We're down in St. Augustine.
all right, so
sunlight.
you went to the game then yesterday, right?
Yes, we did. Just had a
First, I want to ask you
real
this,
nice
'cause
deal.
I think this was an underrated thing that no one talked about. I was listening to huge cheers from Browns fans when they did do things right. What was the crowd like yesterday?
The crowd was responsive. But they did not proactively try to help the defense, like they do at home.
Sure. What would you say the percentage of Browns fans in there was?
I would say probably 15%.
Oh, 15? That's not bad. Pretty good. All right, Howie, just your take on yesterday's game and what went wrong and what went wrong.
Yeah, everything went wrong. When you have a rookie quarterback and you don't put pressure on them, giving them an opportunity. And then their defensive line was just, they were like men beating up on boys for our offense. It was terrible. And then the worst thing, I think, from an offensive perspective is, like Kenny said earlier, they had to pass the ball. Instead, they hand the ball to Dancing Ben, who just was prancing around behind the line and getting popped.
I'm not so mad at Ben Tate. I don't know. I
I'm not
can't
either. I think it starts with the offensive line. They got beat, handily. And not just the center and McQuiston. All 5 guys struggled against Jacksonville's front. I mean, it's easy for us, and we've talked about it. Yeah, they didn't have Alex Mack. But those 5 guys in the offensive line, they got to look in the mirror today. They've got to be better for the Browns to win football games.
Absolutely.
Well, that's correct. And the thing is, that defensive line is not weak.
No.
No.
Jacksonville's got a
That's
really
not
good
a weak
defensive
line.
line. You're right.
Hey, Howie, we're just kind of running out of time here. Tell folks how they can get involved in the Susquehanna Browns Backers Club.
Well, we meet at Ted's Bar and Grill out on Route 22 just east of Harrisburg. We're there for all the games, and we're looking for more support whenever we can get it. And they're actually building a new facility with a room 4 times the size that'll hold over 100 people for us in the future.
Wow, that's awesome. Facebook, Twitter, anywhere else to get a hold of you? How do we get a hold of you?
We have a Facebook, Susquehanna Valley Browns Backers, and again in Susquehanna Valley, that's what they call the center part of Pennsylvania.
Okay, Susquehanna Valley. All right, right there in enemy territory. Thank you, Howie. We appreciate you taking time this morning.
Thanks for letting me call in.
We appreciate it. All right, let's go. Let's talk a little bit of Ravens football now. We go to Garrett Downing, who is with Ravens.com in Charm City there, or play like you're in Charm City. All right, right now, Garrett, the Ravens are the class of the AFC North, and I think when they played the Browns a few weeks back, I don't know that everyone was saying that, but right now the Ravens are in full gear.
Yeah, everything's clicking. The last few games, everything's gone right. I mean, they love playing these NFC South teams. They're 3-0 against them so far this season. Yesterday, they really controlled the entire game against the Falcons. They scored on the first possession of the game. The defense was in Matt Ryan's face all day. They sacked him 5 times, hit him 9 times. He was never able to get comfortable, get into any sort of a rhythm. And that was really the same. That was the same story last week against the Bucs. They put up 38 points in the first 16 minutes of that game. So the last 2 weeks, a lot of things have gone right. The defense, I think that this offense is good, is really, really good, especially with Gary Kubiak as the offensive coordinator. But I think this defense is making a case to be one of the better ones in the NFL, a top 5 kind of a defense. Even though the yardage, they've given up some yards, they're getting after quarterbacks, they're not getting up points, they're strong in the red zone, and they've proven so far through this first, half of the season that they're one of the better defenses in the league.
Yeah, they're playing good football. They really are. But you look at the quarterbacks and the storylines, guys are always connected because of the year they're drafted, Garrett. Obviously, the Atlanta Falcons quarterback, Matt Ryan, who I think was the first or second overall pick. Flacco's drafted a little bit later on. They both have almost the same record in regular season, but one has won 2 Super Bowls, and he looked like it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, they're always going to be compared whenever they get on the field together. And they're buddies kind of, they talked yesterday, but they're always going to be compared. And that was the debate, for a long time. Matt Ryan or Joe Flacco, who would you rather have? When Flacco won a Super Bowl, was a Super Bowl MVP, he kind of answered that to some extent. Matt Ryan has better statistics. Joe Flacco has more wins. So it's like, where do you put your stock into? I think people here, the other part with Joe Flacco is durability. He's never missed a game, started every single game since he came into the NFL. So I think people here would certainly hitch their wagon to Joe Flacco. And there's some questions, down in Atlanta. They're having their second tough season in a row. And so they've got, I don't think Matt Ryan's the problem down there. He's a good quarterback. He's one of the better ones in the league. But I think a lot of people here in Baltimore would take Joe Flacco.
Justin Forsett, biggest surprise of the season to me so far. Makes the Ray Rice situation totally
Yeah, did you have Justin
right?
Forsett as the Ravens' leading rusher coming into the year? I think everybody did, right? That was that was a first pick in everyone's fantasy league.
Yeah, in the redraft.
He's caught everybody by surprise. He's falling into that Gary Kubiak, mold of a guy who you haven't really heard a lot about, maybe a late-round draft pick or a free agent who's bounced around to a couple different teams. He's on pace for 1,000 yards. And so that's what Gary Kubiak's offense does. You just look down the line. Look at those teams in Denver. Mike Anderson, Reuben Drones, all these guys. Arian Foster was an undrafted guy. So he's had success with whoever his running backs have been. And Justin Forsett's just the latest name in that group of running backs.
Interesting. All right, hey, we'll talk to you later, Garrett. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Ravens.com if you want to read what's going on with the Ravens, right?
Take care, Garrett.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Rick's been hanging on the line from Alliance. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Hey, real good there this morning. Beautiful fall day. Just want to say it's kind of a sweet and sour mix this morning here. From Alliance, Ohio. I'm a transplant from PA, so I think you know where we're going to go on this one. But, I just want to say that was a wild game there yesterday, and I was a little shocked, but was kind of rooting for the Jaguars there, but
oh, you got a flag.
Play.
Hey, so let me ask you this: if you lose to Houston tonight,
The basement, baby.
How are you going to feel about that? You lost to the Browns. I mean, what's so sweet about it? You lost to the Browns. I'm one of those guys that I follow my team, you know, and I actually want teams to win.
You know what? A broken clock is right twice a day, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Well, I'm a Steeler fan through the thick and thin.
Well, we appreciate your support here on Dogs on the Run.
I just wanted to call and give you guys.
Hey, what was the score of the Steelers game last week?
I wanted to give you sympathy and
sympathy.
like I
Sympathy.
say,
Thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks, Rick. I've had
that's
enough.
enough.
Thanks. We're done with that.
This guy really is trolling us a week after the Steelers got pounded by
I don't
the
think he
Browns.
was trolling us. I'll be honest with you.
You know,
You think he was trolling us? I don't even think. I got to tell you,
He was hanging. He was hanging on the line for like 15, 20 minutes.
yeah, that dude's got. It's a sweet and sour morning. He was. Come
sweet
on.
and sour. I was like, what is this guy talking about?
Get out of here.
All right,
Where's Tubby? Where's Tubby when I need him?
All right, we got about